Two retirees off their rockers.
No, two old people on the rockers. All right, retirees on the rockers. Hey there, folks.
Two old retirees sitting on rockers.
Oh, Lordy.
Oh, and
It
a puss
is.
puss.
And a puss puss and a
And
buddy.
a
Oh my goodness. Hi, puss puss.
She wants to be famous. So. Oh.
Yeah.
And here comes Buddy.
Puss Puss Jr. Hi, monsters. Hi, Agatha.
Okay.
You guys got great timing.
Mm-hmm.
Yay! Blooper reel. Hi. Hi, buddy. Hi. Okay. All right, enough. Enough.
Cut. Oh,
Enough.
that's a pretty pumpkin you got.
All right, go play.
Go play with your pumpkin.
A lot of editing. Let's see now. All right, no, I do not want your disgusting pumpkin. She gave it to me anyways. We bought pumpkins the other day, and they've been kind of catching, eating them, chewing, whatever. We always buy them for our dogs. These two, not quite figured it out yet. But anyway, all right. Let's try this again. 3, 2, 1. Two old people on rockers.
Or off the rockers.
Off the rockers.
You decide. Let us know in the comments.
Felicia says, no, two retirees on rockers.
I need a nap.
Oh, so yesterday we went to Overland Expo East.
2025.
That's right, to go see our new rig. And unfortunately, we'll not be taking it home just yet. It needs some more things done with it over the next few weeks. They need to tie in and what do they call it? Take care of the little details, whatever. So yeah, they were in a mad dash rush, working overtime to get it ready. They wasn't even sure they were going to get it ready for the expo, but they got it. A lot of people checking out the rig, including us. Some one of us more than the other.
We were there the same length of time. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we were.
I happened to be inside where it was cooler, and he opted to stay outside where he was sweating.
That's right. So we were at the Nomad RV booth, and Felicia was inside most of the time when we were there, and I was on the outside. And Steve, the owner, and Gary, the sales rep, love Felicia, dude. They love Felicia. They kept telling me, "I love your wife. Your wife is awesome. I love your wife. She's doing a fantastic job." Felicia was sitting in there, just whatever the spill was. Like Gary's like, she would just say whatever, and then next group of people in, they would ask a question, and she was just repeat, and people were all excited. And you had a bunch of people that were coming back 2 or 3 times. One group, one couple, they came back what, 3 or 4 times, and then the last time they wanted to fit a bike or they fit a bike in the compartment.
The garage.
Oh yeah, the garage. But the RV looked really, really good. And it touch-ups and a couple of things need to be added and stuff. Yeah, it definitely needs to be clean. Yeah. What's your thoughts on everything? Knowing you were unsure going into it and wanting the RV, what is your opinion of it now? And
well, it's not that I didn't want an RV. I just had concerns over the price, and there are certain things that still, until we actually take ownership of it and put our mark on it, I guess, I won't know exactly how it's going to work for us. Stop laughing at me.
the mark thing was funny. I like that.
Okay. So when we got there, it was one of the first booths. So we walked in, and was it Gary that was inside talking to? No,
Steve was inside. Gary met us at with the guy. We got
I
like
always forget who's who.
parking. We got parking for I don't know who the parking was for, but it was right there in front of the gate. And then we got someone on a golf cart took us all the way to the booth because we didn't have passes. We had the vendor pass, I guess, and they escorted us and gave us a little golf cart ride to the booth. So that was quite nice.
Saved us a little walking while the weather was nice, but we did a lot of walking in the sun and the heat.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful day, but it was really, really super crazy hot. Um, Anywho, so we got to the RV, and ours was parked next to its, I guess, sister version that's a little bit smaller,
Yeah.
30 inches smaller or
The
so.
Euphoria, and ours is Euphoria XL Queen because it's queen bed.
Euphoria.
Euphoria. I can't speak.
Yeah, well, she'll have another name at some point. We'll fill you in when we get that far.
Yeah.
So got to it, and immediately my OCD kicks in because somebody else is inside. There's dust and grass and dirt and whatever. And I thought, damn it, we didn't even have a chance to be the first ones in the RV. But that's okay. We were in somebody else's before they got to see it too. So
Well, in mind, everybody, this is the first time us really seeing it in person.
Right, seeing our own rig, because when we went to the factory for the discussion and to kind of get to see what everything looked like, our chassis hadn't come in, so ours hadn't been started yet. But we still had, we could still get, or I could get a better idea of the concept of it and the feel of being inside it. So this was our first chance, and of course, because I'm, whatever you want to call me, I was like, haha, it's mine. I'm going inside, and I'm, this is our vehicle, so I want to get a feel for it. Walked inside, and there was somebody sitting on a chair looking, or on one of the benches looking awfully comfortable, asking a lot of questions. And yeah, so Gary was in the rig, I think.
He was in the other one, wasn't he? The smaller one?
I don't know. Anyhow, one of the Nomad RV guys that were actually working was sitting inside, kind of giving, answering questions. Somebody was potentially interested in making a purchase, and he said, "Oh, here's the person that can kind of tell you."
I think that was Steve. Yeah.
I thought, okay.
Yeah, because when we pulled up, the owner is the
short hair.
Yeah.
Is that Gary?
No, Gary had the little facial hair.
The longer hair, gray hair.
Yeah.
No offense if you guys are watching this, but it's been a long night, and apparently we can't remember who's who.
Yeah.
Just when I thought I knew.
Steve was the guy when we went to the factory. He was the owner.
Steve.
Yes.
The owner. Okay,
and
so Gary was the one that was sitting inside the RV.
Okay. My bad.
Not that you care. Just remember, Felicia, if you're looking to buy, because I'm working on commission these days. Anywho, so one of the things that, I walked in, I took my backpack off, I put my water in the fridge because it's out there, it's open, it's, I just, again, wanted to get a feel for it. I figured we would be staying there all day. I know we wanted to walk around, but I thought the majority of our day would be there and kind of checking out the rig and seeing what things maybe we had questions about or concerns about. So I was looking, okay, where's the best place for me to stash my backpack so it's not in the way of people coming in and out? Well, then, people kind of just started coming in, and so I said, okay, well, welcome to my home. And they look at me, and I think they literally thought I was selling. I was just one of the salespeople there at first, and I'm like, no, this is ours. Oh, well, thank you for opening it to us. I'm like, oh, you're welcome. Like, not that we didn't have a choice, we did, but we knew what we were.
We did.
We knew this was going to be a way for them to show this particular model at the event, and for me, it was just kind of interesting because it says I'm learning about it. Some of the questions that they had asked about were the things that I either already knew or from just kind of playing around and just trying to give somebody else, whether they're interested, whether they're just looking at what's out there. Maybe it's something in the future. See, that might be a salesperson or a person calling to buy one now. Calls are coming in.
I guarantee he saw the post.
No. So, I don't know. So it was a nice feeling being inside it and not feeling claustrophobic, knowing that we'll have those two barkers in it the next time that we're actually in the RV. So knowing we could have other people in there, and whereas like our current RV, there goes another call. Come on, buy some Nomad RVs. Anyway, distractions. Being able to be inside the RV and get a feel for how many people could be in it and not feeling claustrophobic. When we first got there, it was still nice and cool in the morning for the most part. The sun was out, but it wasn't blistering like it was in the afternoon. And there was a window open, and I sat on one of the benches near the window, and I stayed nice and cool.
But so it wasn't plugged in. None of the rigs were plugged in.
No.
The door was open. You opened a window. They had the AC on.
No, the AC they didn't turn on until later.
Oh, wasn't until later?
Yeah.
But it was cooler inside the whole time. Every time I've gone in, it was so much cooler than it was outside. So
right. So that was one of the things that. So when there's a divide, a go between where you drive and getting into the rest of the living space, and Nomad has this basically magnetic thermal insulation
blanket or something.
Don't know what the fancy name is, and that was what I told people. I don't know what the fancy name is, but I'm going to tell you what it is and what it does. And if you want more specifics, the two guys in the beigey colored shirts were the ones that you would get all those details from. Everybody was fine with that, no big deal. But throughout the day, as we had more people coming in, and I said, okay, and this is really important because it's what's helping to insulate and helping to keep everything as cool as it was. So that was one of the selling points, if you will. And people kept telling me how amazed they were because they did pull it back to see what was there, and then it was the blast of heat because we were parked directly on the sun. It felt like just shining into the window, and the temperature difference between the cab and the body of it just made me more comfortable that we'll be able to stay cool in there. We'll be able to stay warm when necessary. So it just helped. It was something that I wasn't expecting to notice anything from right away compared to what we have now, what most people have, the magnetic just window covers that you have to put up, and some people don't even have a divider. Maybe you've got a curtain that blocks off the cab from the rest of the body of the RV.
Yeah.
But anyway, so as people were coming in, and there was a difference between some people that were really, really looking and really, really interested, and those are the ones that, like Lynn mentioned, came back more than once, and some were just amazed how cool it was and how much more open it felt even than the other version that was there. Not saying that one was better than the other, it just depends on your needs, but just at the difference. I had one person that came in and told me how nice it smelled inside, and I thought, oh, okay, so nobody stunk it up yet. But he kind of
go ahead.
he kind of mentioned it was probably because, again, it was open, it was fresh. The wood, the cedar on the, I think it's cedar, whatever the wood paneling cedar is on the ceiling is carried on to the benches to kind of.
Yeah, he tells you what about all the other rigs? They
kind of were foul.
Smelling.
Yeah, you didn't get that. This one smelled clean, and maybe that's because nobody had used it yet. No, nobody was living in it, but with all the people coming and going, and some people leaving things behind, there were candy wrappers, and I'd find different things. But that was also part of my I guess desire to stay inside, to see how people were treating things and to see how things would hold up with kind of anybody coming in and out. So whether you've got family that comes in and out, whether you've got friends that come in and out, eventually we'll have dogs that'll come in and out, and just looking at the amount of dirt and things that are getting tracked in, how easily it should be to kind of clean the floors, absolutely, but are they leaving marks on the counters? Are they leaving marks on the cabinetry? Just different things like that, and getting a feel for, in my mind, where am I going to put what once we're in there and actually using it. So it was just funny. It seemed like every time I went to leave the RV, somebody else was coming in. So instead of them moving, I backed up, they came in, and we had a conversation. And I didn't necessarily go into a spiel, but I'm like, okay, let me know if you have any questions. And then they might ask something, and I said, well, this is ours. So I'm learning it the same as kind of like we're talking through it with you. We have even had a group of kids that came in, and from outside, again, I think it was Gary that was saying, oh, thank you, like for just humoring the kids coming in. But it was funny is because I don't know the background of these two, but they came in with their little bags. They had been, with family, whoever. They're walking around, they're doing what they need to do. And when they walked in, they started to ask questions. Well, how much water can this thing hold? What size is it? And simple questions that I could
They were
answer
asking
anyway.
like legit questions that any adult would.
Right, absolutely. Anybody that was interested. And to me, that was funny. I thought, okay, well, maybe they have a competing brand or something, and they're just trying to come and get, they send their little spies in and ask questions. But it was funny. We saw them throughout the day as they were at other booths and whatnot. But I just really enjoyed having conversations with some of the people, and Lisa and her husband, and I'm gonna say Steve, but I'm so sorry. I can see your face, but names are not sticking with me. I should have had people sign a guest book and pass out stickers or something. So if we do one of these again, maybe we'll consider that. But I just thought the conversations were really good because some of them had way more experience than we had with this. Some had come to the expo just to look at this particular model because they were interested. So some had never heard of Nomad. Some had been tracking Nomad for a while.
They drove, like people that come in just to see just the RV.
Yes.
Drove really far to get there. Like,
yeah, people from North Carolina,
New Hampshire.
Yes, New Hampshire. It was just, again, it was just interesting because we had been to this event before, but before we had ever had our Debbie, our other RV, the Born Free 22-foot that we are putting up for sale. So if anybody's interested, again,
kind of along with the house.
Well, if it needs to be a bonus, take the house in, Debbie. We'll make it work. Buy our house. Your hashtag buy our house.
Right, buy our house. Help. I'll throw in Debbie.
We'll make it work. But yeah. So as Lynn's talking more specs and whatever with everybody outside, admiring all the dogs that people had brought that were suffering in the heat, I feel. Nomad was nice enough to set out a huge dog bowl, and they had fresh water for any of the dogs that came up. So to me, that was great. They were letting the product speak for itself. They didn't have gimmicks. They had their card. They had a sticker. I don't even remember what the sticker said. It was something nice, but we can put it in the comments or something afterward. But it was pretty much just, here's what it is. Here's the specifics about it. Let us know what questions you have. Like, it sort of either speaks for itself and it kind of pulls you in, or it doesn't. And I just felt like everybody that was coming in, even when it came down to one of the last people that came in to look, was a dad and his son. His son was adorable, and he asked permission if he could go up and go inside. So I held his little hand because the handrail is on the RV, but you still have 4 or 5 steps. So I just wanted to make sure that he was being careful to get in. Held his little hand. He went in with the dad. They started looking around. I went inside just to make sure the dad knew it was okay. Look around, tell him some of the things that were in there, the same as pretty much I was doing with everybody else. But the little boy was so adorable, and so somehow we started the conversation of, I think you could fit in that drawer. And the dad's like, because we had just been talking about the seating, how that can be turned into an extra bed if you needed. And he mentioned that they were looking for something because they were getting ready to retire, if I'm not mistaken, and were thinking about traveling and making sure there was enough room for the kids. And so I just kind of joked along with the little boy, and we talked about the drawer, and then he opened one of the cabinets that was just about as tall as he was, and I said, I think you could fit in that. And the dad's like, I think you can, buddy. So he looked at me, he looked at his dad, and he climbed straight into the little cabinet under the countertop next to the benches and sat in and said, I do fit. I said, absolutely. With a pillow, you could travel anywhere. And the dad and I were just kind of, just joking with him and stuff. And he said, well, but Dad, I think I really, really need to sleep on the bed. I think I really need to, like, he wanted to get up there, I think was what was the next thing. And I would have been fine if he wanted to hop up and see, but again, it was just the interaction, and I don't feel like there was anybody that was everybody had a positive attitude. There wasn't anybody that was unkind or I don't know how to explain it. It felt nice, it felt
Felt
comfortable.
nice community of people that you wouldn't mind hanging around with.
For the most part, yeah. And I think one couple mentioned this is great, and I think we would love to get this if one day we win the lottery. And I thought, okay, well, we haven't hit that yet, but depending on what you want to do, where you're trying to go, there are things that can work, and I would think that Nomad and the team can work with you, because the same as they worked with us, there are some things that it just is what it is on the phase of development on where they're at. But I would say check it out, figure out, check the other things, look around and see. And this time, because we knew this was our rig, I didn't feel the need to go and look at all of the other vehicles as much.
We really didn't do. We walked into a truck camper that was big.
Only because we had considered truck campers before, but I had never stepped into one, and I just kind of wanted to see what this one was all about. And
Comparison.
I kind of felt bad because the guy was by himself and nobody was going over, so I thought, what the hell? Let's get out of the sun for a little bit. We'll walk in and see what's what. But again, at the end of the day, I felt comfortable in our rig.
Yeah.
And the day passed by.
Oh yeah, and we did a lot of walking when we walked around the event. We went up and down every aisle and checked out.
There were hundreds of vendors.
Yeah, they said something like over 200.
I think.
But this time going through each, because we've gone to Expo, Overland Expo before, and quite quick. And very quick.
Video.
Yeah, that's a different video. Well,
but we went with a different intent.
Yeah.
So it makes a difference.
So and we've been to RV shows, we've been to other camping things, but this time we were looking at each of the vendors, what would apply to this rig. We didn't buy anything. We weren't going to buy anything. We just trying to figure out what is it that we would absolutely need. Now, out of the 200 something vendors, one thing I will get, and that's that on X, whatever.
Oh.
But
and we're not affiliated.
No.
But if they would like to work with us, hey, we're new at this, but let's talk.
There was a lot of neat things there.
No, there were, but when we think about what we need, and again, it's not to just go out and buy a whole bunch of stuff. It's to get a feel for it, and then figure out what maybe needs to be adjusted. And then even talking to some of the people that had already been walking around that said, well, maybe you might want to check out this tent for suction cups, or this tent for blankets, for bedding, for whatever it was. But hearing somebody else that had either purchased already, had it, and was even giving us suggestions on how to maybe make some tweaks to our vehicle to make it work a little bit better. Whereas like going to the bathroom, for example, everybody's got a different way that they feel about it. Some people will not use a shower toilet combination. Some people don't want to be moving it, and I get it. And that was another thing. Again, I didn't have the technical details. My memory goes, and they'd ask, well, what kind of, they would look around. So when you talked about my spiel, they'd walk in, and I'm saying, okay, the first thing you have right here is the shower. And they turn their head, and they open the door, and they see this huge mirror in the shower. And I said, it's got a pocket door. And I was like, oh. I said, and the toilet is under the sink, because you may not say it, but I know from experience, I want to know where that bathroom is.
Right.
Because that could be a selling point for somebody. If they don't want to do that, or they don't have the desire or the support of somebody else that's going to do that portion of it, that may be a total turnoff, and they would go and do something else.
We talked to one guy that came out, and his concern was he was trying to figure out how to sell this rig to his wife. Kind of like I had to sell it to you.
Well, I don't know that you had to sell it as so much we had to come to an agreement and meet in the middle about what we needed to be able to move forward, and to just stop waiting and to just dive in and start this whatever slow roam adventure is. But I think that was the guy that was there initially. That was the guy who came back in, and then eventually he came back a third time at least, and at that point I met his wife. And we had that conversation, and she talked about the setup that they have now and how he's got to have one leg hanging out the shower, sitting on the toilet, and that
Not have
right. So, but those were the kind of things to me that never
this.
having really done this, never having like the community of people,
Yep.
because even when we bought Debbie our RV, we might have had like an online community of born freers or people that made comments on Facebook and stuff, but we didn't have people that were like lured specifically to that vehicle
Right.
for its particular features, for for whatever.
And Steve, I told Steve and Gary, like, look, I have no problem. You guys want to show this off in other expos or shows, or whatever, let me know. If I'm in the area, I'd be glad to help and assist. I like the RV, and whatever. And they're like, yeah. And Steve suggested, he was like, yeah, there's a one that he wants us to they have a hard time getting to, and it's in Oregon. I'm like, oh, that
There
definitely
you
would
go.
be
Sounds so much better already.
yeah. I think that one's in June.
Oh, happy
And
birthday to me.
oh yeah, you know what? I didn't make that correlation. And
Mm-hmm.
then
Oh, that would be a fun setup.
yeah, I think so. And then he mentioned some
Mm-hmm.
other expos and shows, like a fly fishing one and like a hunting one. He's like, I was talking like, you ever thought about doing like the RV shows? Like, he's like, no, these are more for folks that want to get out in the wild, and like the RV shows are fine, but those are going to stay at the park and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
People that go hunting and fly fishing or venture is who's going to use this more. I'm like,
And I think
you're
that would
right.
be super exciting just to see that. We're not going to say that we're getting on the road and all of a sudden we're going to be in the middle of nowhere, and we might be, but that's just,
We don't
directional.
know. Yeah.
We don't know. But physically, like, it's going to take us some time to figure out. And again, just having it, we want to stick kind of close nearby. That way we know if there's something we've forgotten or if there's something we need
Yep.
to kind of get a feel for it. And so even having like going, say if we had assumed ownership and we were living in it or preparing to take, to set it up for that day, I would have had a fridge filled of drinks. I would have had, other things that would have kept us comfortable. So I wouldn't have had an issue with people going through and looking at things. But you're going to be more cautious if you're going to an expo and you're actually living it and using it, and you may not have people going through the same things, or But
Yeah.
one thing that I thought was neat is, especially even once I said, yeah, this is our rig, and people were very considerate in that they asked, well, do you mind if I look at this, or do you mind if I look at that? And that's why I sort of pointed them to certain things, and I'm like, no, you can absolutely open any of the cabinets. And that's how I found some of the snacks that were that had been gifted to the Nomad guys that were there. But I said, oh, we're gonna have to talk. I haven't put any food in there yet. We don't want ants. But that's the kind of just fun joking thing, I guess, that was kind of coming out of it yesterday. And I didn't think about it because I just went into feeling comfortable in the rig, feeling comfortable with the people that I was chatting with, to where when you texted me, one, my phone was down, so I didn't even hear it, and asked me, well, hey, remember we were here to look at the rest of the things too. And I was like, oh, yeah, we could do that. That's fine. But I guess I hadn't realized the amount of time that had passed because we were
Yeah. A few hours.
just living. I mean, just living, talking, and
Yeah, a few hours. All I knew, Gary kept coming out. Gary and Steve were like, dude, we love your wife. Your wife is the ambassador. We love her. She is doing a fantastic, phenomenal job. I'm
well,
like, she's love it. This is up her wheelhouse, and
I
she's
felt
enjoying
bad
it.
then because I thought, well, and that's why like you said, well, maybe we need to get out and let them do their thing. I didn't want to stop them from trying to sell anything. I was hoping I wasn't. Um,
Yeah,
you
I hope
know,
not, but it
I
didn't
guess they'll
seem like
find
it.
out
They were,
if they'll find out for anybody that comes today since we stayed away. But
yeah.
if anybody goes back and looks for the crazy lady that was in the blue shirt that was talking, that's me. Just make sure you let them know that you're back because of me. Or if you're there because I'm not there, then, well, anyway.
Yeah.
But
It it was a good time. Probably for me, I think the best RV show expo or whatever we've been to,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe because it was our rig that we were finally getting to see and
Mm-hmm.
experience and seeing how other people reacted to it, and it felt really really good.
Right.
uh, and yeah, I would love to take it to another Overland Expo or something, some other expo or whatever show that's like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of people that they were there and they brought their rigs and their setups and they were just camping. They weren't vendors, nothing. They had all everything. I mean, people were sleeping in tents, cars, trucks. They
Mm-hmm.
had giant rigs.
Yeah, we show up in a little juke
Oh
that
yeah,
is barely making it over the dirt road to get into the event, and it's hilarious because there
like the
was a
smallest car there, you know.
well, one of them, but there was a huge pickup truck that pulled on alongside of us with a kid in his car seat that kind of was like looking down at us, like, "Dad, what are they doing here? Why are they here?" Kind of thing. Like it's a clown car compared to everybody else.
Hmm.
But I
Yeah, he's looking down at us, and he should. You
yeah.
know?
So I think from going to the ones we had gone to before when we were first looking into this, like when we went to Tennessee, um, it was more of being able to see not so much what was being sold, but being able to see what somebody was already working with
Yeah,
that we had the better
ideas
conversations
and
with. When we walked the parking lot to go back to our vehicle in Tennessee, and we met the married couple that had twin beds in the back. It was
oh
their
yeah,
setup.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and they just spoke about how, they did things a certain way because that worked for them.
They
And
had a beautiful rig too, and very methodical and
right, and they were
smart.
great about trying to help educate somebody else. So those were some of the conversations. And like I said, okay, we haven't taken ownership of this one yet. This is what we do with our current rig. This is where we think this is going to kind of change, and how we'll be able to do this with the new one, and bouncing some ideas off of people, things that we had maybe used or thought about, and people bringing up things that we hadn't necessarily considered. So I think that's probably the draw to a lot of people that show up to these events. So like you mentioned, the community, I wasn't worried about sticking around for happy hour or anything like that. We still had a couple of hours drive home that night yesterday, but it was the idea of seeing how somebody else is doing it, hearing about maybe a place that they had been or something that was invaluable to them, that they've learned. I think that's what
Yeah,
and I'm not saying this is, going to be the same experience every time, but it was a really, really positive experience for me. And so call me selfish, but
yeah.
that
It,
helped.
it definitely was. It was nice. It was. I was just getting a kick and enjoying you hanging inside, talking to everybody. Like there was always a crowd of people going in. Like I could never really get inside the rig because she was in there, and then there was like a line of people always trying to get in and check out the rig. I mean, the rig, uh, it was pretty crowded for the most part. People wanting to check out the rigs, going in
It
and
was a
talking to her, and
constant. And it's not like I'm standing at the doorway and stopping people from coming in, or I'm getting people's way. I was just sitting down in one of the dining
yeah,
area, seats,
the
chairs, cushions,
seats,
whatever you want to
yeah,
call it. Yeah,
the,
the little cubby area. So, and I was against the like the passenger side window, so people could walk in and they didn't even notice me at first because there were so many other things to see before I even got there. I could have been dressed up and jumped out and scared people, kind of thing. So I think that's why some people thought that, oh, here we go. Here's a sales pitch. And one of the guys that came in, he's like, oh, you don't have to tell me anything. I've been watching the videos. I'm like, okay, that's great. I said, but this is my rig. So, and then that kind of like, they took a pause, like, oh, okay, she's not here trying to sell us, you know, a particular brand. This is her. So anything that she's speaking of is speaking from either her experience, her excitement with, they're going to
yeah.
drive away with it. And I'm like, yeah. And the guy that's sweating outside, that's my husband. So it's like, it's not just me, but I'm like, yeah, he's working outside, whatever. And so that's what was funny. And then that's where I feel like some of the questions changed and some of the feedback was different. And
Yeah, Probably so, because nobody ever wants to talk to a salesperson. Sorry, Gary.
I'm the first one that is going to walk away and is going to be.
Uh, well, like the one pushy we had to deal with. I'm like, not
They
sold
have a
on
job. We get it.
Yeah.
And I think that's for me. And again,
I
that's
don't like
just
to
my
be forced
opinion.
into something or feel like I gotta.
No, and he is somebody that will cave to the peer pressure, and
Sometimes.
yeah, sometimes we'll end up buying that product because somebody like kind of was just
I
so
feel bad. I'm
forceful,
like, all
right?
right.
You feel guilty. They spent all this time with you, told you all this stuff, and it wasn't about, again, it wasn't about me selling the vehicle because I didn't have anything to sell to anybody. They just thanked me for the information,
What
thanked
are
me
you
for
trying?
opening up our vehicle.
We're just happy to be there and wanted to share anything or thoughts or whatever with anybody.
But I guess I didn't even go into it expecting to.
No.
I had no clue that that was going to be my day. I didn't think that I would be almost selling, or giving selling points about this vehicle, but things that like you selected or you decided because I kind of left that to you because you were trying to figure out what was going to work the best, what you were happy with, like removing a window, putting in extra cabinets. I didn't go through the details of setting that up. I agreed with it, and then I spoke to why we sort of did that and why it worked for us, and how even though we did that and we maybe removed one window so we could get extra storage, the space is still so bright and open feeling,
And
even
I'm
with the
glad
dark
we
color
did that.
cabinets.
Yeah, I'm glad we removed the window and extended the cabinets because that definitely gave one a lot more storage. It still felt
Right. And
very open.
so that was some of the feedback that I did receive, in that when they walked into the other Euphoria,
Yeah,
that was there, the smaller. I don't really know what the bed size was. It was just.
it was queen.
Okay,
it
so it was a
same
queen,
thing.
but it was a
Less cabinet space.
not the XL, just the regular.
Yeah.
Whatever. Go to Nomad RV to get the full details and the specs and all that kind of stuff. I'm not worried about all that, but I knew enough that if people asked me, well, how much water storage is there? Now, when you started to ask me about how the solar panel and how it worked, I'm like, I don't know, but the AC is running on now by the end of the afternoon. I said, we're not plugged into anything else. We're absorbing all of the heat that you don't feel because we've got that little insulation thing between the cab and the.
Well, yeah. That AC was running for quite a bit, and the door was open, and it was still nice and cool in there. And again, we're not plugged into anything, so the batteries and the solar were, like the AC was running pretty good. I'm like, it wasn't full blast or anything, right?
No. So we got to again test something out that we wouldn't necessarily have done until we actually took it and went on our own. So again, while they're still tweaking it, if we had concerns or we had questions about anything, we could point it out. But that wasn't something that I had to worry over because, hello, it's been running for several hours with the door open, and it still feels nice and cool.
The battery wasn't drained. Like the solar was keeping up with the AC.
Struggling.
It's not struggling. It's at some points it was actually charging. I mean, you're getting a net positive on the battery charge.
See, I didn't look into any of that stuff. That wasn't my plan. That wasn't my purpose for being there. I don't know exactly what I thought it was going to be. I want to make sure
if it's 100 degrees, can we run the AC at night if we're not plugged in? And I think we'll be able to run this thing no issues.
Right. It has an AC. It's got what's the other fan called? The Fantastic fan.
No, it's no. Dang it.
Don't know the specifics, but there's another ventilation system in addition to
popular
to the air conditioned heat source.
Yeah. Max Air, I think it is.
Oh, okay. So. And that's closer to the shower and to the kitchen area. So if you're somewhere cooking, you can pull the moisture out. There's some designated holes at the top of like the bathroom door that'll help get some of that moisture and humidity out so it's not staying. And then if you're cooking, it'll help get any of those smells out and help just kind of circulate the air. So I don't even think that was running when we first got there in the morning. And like I said, it was really fresh. All I had, and only one window was open. So once I opened the cross window to try to get some crosswind, whatever you want to call it. But that was around the time that you said, let's go walk. So I'm thinking that probably helped as well. So again, knowing that if we're somewhere and the weather is nice, we can open those windows, keep the screens up or down. And again, that's all part of the window system. So it's not 2 or 3 separate pieces like what we have now. So that was great. And according to a couple of people, they go in the right direction. I didn't know there was a specific direction, but one of the couples that came in said, "Yeah, if you want to get naked, but you want your windows open. Yeah, bear with me. You leave the window open, but the screen the blackout portion comes from the bottom, so people can see your head, but they don't need to see anything below it, and you can still have." Well, I mean, it's things that make sense that you don't think about.
I don't think about it,
but he did, because his current, or I'd say like the current system, they have to run around and hurry up and put all the things on the windows to close everything up. Here, he can have the windows open, and he can just lift the dark screen up a little bit. He doesn't have to go and find anything. You don't have to have the space for all these things. And I thought, okay. Again, something you might not have thought of, but in conversations with people, and Lord, we learned some interesting things yesterday.
Yes, we
Nothing
did.
to do with camping. Won't be discussed here. But, yeah, people give you a lot of information.
Yeah, very openly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So
anyway.
Worth it?
Yes, yesterday was worth it for me. You did all the driving to get there and get back, which I appreciated. I handled snacks and drinks, and we kind of did that thing and talked quite a bit and got home, and it was a good kind of exhausting day. I think had it not been as hot, it would have been even better. But
a bigger breeze would have been good. But no, other than that, it was a beautiful day. We walked a lot. Kind of surprising how much I was able to walk without having to take a break, because usually
we didn't have to find places to stop to sit.
Nope.
We did, to get out of the sun at one point and
for lunch or whatever.
Yeah, to grab some lunch, and then we ended up talking to other people who were there as well. Different reasons they were there. Just we did not do much in the way of
the sessions and
classes.
Yeah,
those are available at the events as well. There were some things that were interesting.
Yeah,
even some of the vendors, for example, like we're giving out samples of the freeze-dried meals. So that was one of the things.
Sorry.
I'm talking a little too much, I guess. I'm making him tired.
Trying to hold back my sorry.
But one of the things that we had talked about, if you are in a situation where you're not able to get fresh food, maybe we do need to consider something like those freeze-dried meals, MREs, whatever you want to call them, for emergency rations, just in case. So the fact that some of the people are out there demonstrating them, sampling them, saves you the money from buying something that tastes horrible.
Yeah.
And then you don't want to eat, you don't want to give to your dog. And so that, again, is the benefit of, or what we would look at some of the vendors who are there compared to looking at all the other rigs. Because our intent has changed and our need has changed, I guess.
Dramatically has changed, I would think. And I think a lot of it's because we've downsized and we are looking at a smaller footprint. Mentally, but physically I wish, but
when we went the first times, we were in just regular vehicles. We weren't camping. When we purchased our camper, we didn't go to any of the events with our camper because we were using it and we were still working, and we were just, living the regular, trying not to get burnt out day to day. Now things have changed a little bit. We have one RV that we're in the process of
letting go.
Yes. And a new one that we're waiting to take ownership of, and starting another adventure, whatever that, leads us to. So again, it's all about different perceptions, different perspective, where you are, where you want to be.
It's exciting. And just looking forward to picking it up and then bringing it back and making her ours and giving a tour.
Right. I can't wait to see Linnea and Nathan, how they like this one compared to Debbie.
Yeah, we can put them in the trunk, or what was it?
The garage.
Yeah, the storage area.
Well, when you have I think she was 5 at the time, that 5-year-old that asks me the first time she saw the first RV, and I let her sleep in the loft with me. Well, they both slept in the loft with me that night. That was at Christmas time when we visited, and they got to see the RV and they thought it was so cool. And they were up there, and she said, Nina, because that's what she calls me, if something happens to you, can I have Debbie? So, um, got a little morbid there real quick, but for a 5-year-old that enjoyed that, I'm excited to see what they think of it, getting into it, because it's something new, it's exciting. And even with the current RV that's parked at her house, she says, she's little enough, she could live in there, she thinks. So for me, that's the kind of thing that's fun to hopefully be able to experience this with, the family, and let them check it out. And maybe, one day everybody circles the wagons and we meet somewhere, and, Debbie's still there. So it's potential to caravan and go somewhere.
Yep, she is. Until she's not.
Buy our house.
Buy our house. I'll throw in Debbie.
So.
Oh, well.
Anywho.
So, anything that you want to add else to it?
I think I've said more than enough. You were awful quiet this time. I didn't give you a chance.
No, you're good, because it was more about your thoughts and feelings, I think, because you've had a lot of concerns and worries and stuff like that about this rig, and
I still
among
do,
other
but
things.
I'm good right now.
And it's not only that, like a couple of guys that we were talking to outside had pretty much the same thing. I got to convince my wife, or my wife doesn't, she's not going to do this. Like, we don't want, if you have a toilet in the shower, I don't know how to explain to my wife about not having a toilet in the shower. Like, well, if you have a wet bath, somebody's got to wipe it down every time you use it, and it's usually the guy that's going to end up wiping it down. And so there's like different bathroom setups and things like that. So it's interesting talking to the husbands, and people outside, to try to convince or think about how they can justify getting it, or their thoughts or other takes on even this rig or other things that they looked at. Like one gentleman was looking at another brand, and to me it was just like, it's an expensive Echo, and not to beat up Echo or anything like that, but it was a clone of an Echo. Echo I think was one of the first ones that we were looking at that were kind of that box shape, kind of like more off road. And as we look into other things, I just saw, hey, it's the same thing. Everything was the same thing, and this was the first one that was not anything like an Echo. Because like the Echo didn't have any storage. That's my biggest complaint. Didn't have any storage. Well, they talk about the garage. Ooh, okay, but there's no storage inside for groceries or clothes and all. I mean, it's very little. And this one here just seemed open. When I went to go there the first time to the manufacturer to check it out, I'm like, I don't feel nothing feels tight and closed in. I can move around and not feel cramped in between two cabinets, like you would be in like a Sprinter van or ProMaster van, those build outs, and some of the ones we've looked at, right? And this thing was it was nice. I'm like, okay, so
you don't have to be a pencil to live in this thing.
Absolutely. And like 4 people can sit comfortably at the table.
Yes,
and have a meal.
We did with the conversations, at least 3 at a time, if not a 4th person. And we had 1 or 2 other people that were standing around, because maybe while I was sitting talking to one group, another came in, and it was like, oh, sorry. I'm like, no, come on in. The more the merrier.
There were a lot of people in there.
Right. So my plug was, I'm trying to see how many people I can put in here and still feel like I can breathe. And so they're like, yeah, because, you've got a bed that you don't have to make up every day. You've got a separate seating area. Yep. Just different things.
There's rigs that are bigger than this that doesn't have the openness and as free space as this one here did. I mean, they're closed in and tight. and like I said, they have more space inside. They're longer or whatever, or even the same size, and they just the layout doesn't work right. But this one here worked out good. So Steve, you did a good job. Gary, you did a good job, and love the RV so far. Can't wait to take it out on the road forever. But yeah, we're working on that. So you did a pretty good job, Steve. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I don't know if he watches these videos or know anything about it, but
And for Steve's wife, he was fully sunscreened for the most part while I was there anyway. I did, if anybody needed a little, I had my backpack and I had the bottle of sunscreen. So all about safety, keeping everybody cool and no heat stroke, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good time.
It was.
So great people, great event, and I guess we can leave it here. We've been talking 50 minutes.
So
long-winded old people on rockers.
Retirees on rockers.
Now
so
get off my lawn.
So if you're interested, you have questions, send them, come back, tell your friends, and if you choose to purchase a Nomad RV, tell them Felicia sent you.
Yep, and if you have questions, you want to know more about these RVs, ask away, put them in the comments. We'll answer any and all questions we can. So, with that note, I guess we're off to do whatever we're going to do today.
We're off our rockers, and we'll see how the nap. There you go. Off our rockers, ending in a nap.
That's right. All right. Y'all take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend or whatever the day this comes out.
Thanks.
See ya. Thank you. Later.